When we think about grocery stores, we tend to think about stores like Walmart, Loblaws, Sobeys, Freshco, and so on. But what do all these stores have in common? Well, they usually have one entrance, one exit, and as soon as you enter, you're immediately greeted with a huge variety of colorful, fresh, bright fruits and vegetables. But there's one store in particular that is quite opposite of this. My name is MD Rahman, and this is my SOC808 Supermarket tour video where we're going to take a deeper look into Costco, one of the top grocery retailers in North America according to Deloitte and Touche. Costco isn't your typical supermarket. You need to pay an annual fee in order to shop there, and yes, most people would raise their eyebrows at this, but bear with me. The membership my family has is the executive member membership, and we pay about $120 annually. So yes, this is quite a bit of money, but there are several perks that come with this. Some of these perks and benefits include medical insurance, free health screenings, low prescription costs, low grocery prices, low gas prices, discount on auto parts, travel perks, discounts on eye checkups and eyewear, and so much more. The list just continues on and on. Canadian Grocer noted that Costco consistently has a net income of more than $3.659 billion just in 2019, and they have managed to have a total net sales of $149.35 billion. This is not a small amount of money, even for large businesses. Despite having so many different running costs, they still generate so much money in sales. How is this possible? Instead of talking numbers, let's go ahead and visit Costco and see what's going on. As soon as you enter Costco, you aren't greeted with fresh fruits or vegetables. You're actually greeted with expensive items like TVs, sound systems, speakers, watches, diamonds, necklaces, and the list just continues. OPIRG stated that consumers tend to spend the most amount of money at the beginning of their shopping trip as opposed to the end. So it makes sense to put the exorbitantly expensive items near the entrance as opposed to the back of the store. There's usually popular songs playing to keep consumers shopping. OPIRG stated that tracks are played in a sequence that is intended to have a calculated effect on the mood of the listener. It's designed to reduce stress, improve morale, and delay fatigue. But music is not meant to catch the attention of the consumer. Rather, it's a subliminal anesthetic made to relax the consumer and invite him or her to shop longer. You'll notice that Costco kind of looks like a rundown warehouse. You can see pallets all over the place, steel tables, crates everywhere, exposed beam pillars. But Costco isn't cheap when it comes to advertising. Them not putting much effort into advertising is a form of ingenious advertising. This gives the illusion that prices are significantly cheaper compared to other stores that look nicer, which encourages shoppers to spend more money. The store only has one entrance and one exit. This forces buyers to travel throughout the entire store, get past the checkout, and then finally be funneled towards the exit. This gives you more exposure to products, so you're more likely to spend more money. Furthermore, you'll notice as soon as you enter the store that the entrance typically moves you rightwards. OPIRG stated that most consumers are right-handed and are therefore inclined to move in a right-hand direction. But this isn't entirely the case when it comes to Costco. Costco slowly starts to move you rightwards, sure, but then it splits up in items you would never think go together or in places you would never expect them to be. For example, the pharmacy section is located right beside the bakery. The produce is right next to the toy section. Clothes are right beside gardening items, and it's just a huge mess and a mistake, right? Wrong. This is precisely their goal. They want you to get confused and be puzzled, so you scavenge the aisles for hours and hours looking for items that you want so that you can cover the most amount of area in the store. As you roam around the unlabeled aisles, which is the last thing you need because you're already confused why the men's shorts were next to the gardening tools. Anyway, you continue on your quest to find the products you want. You will notice that on the labels that the prices are usually in large readable font, and directly underneath is a highlighted portion saying how much you saved. Does it really matter if you save $5? Because at the end of the day, you're still paying for the product. But who doesn't love seeing instant savings of $5, right? So you're happily thinking about the $5 you saved, but in the middle, Costco will start to throw in some bad deals here and there. Like for example, they sell you bulk condiments that expire quickly. Why would I ever need 6 bottles of ketchup? By the time I finish the first few, the other 4 is going to be expired. But most people don't think about this because they're too busy thinking about how much money they save. As you continue your way to the back of the store, you'll notice that this area has the highest concentration of people. This is the part of the store we're going to be focusing on. This section, of course, is the dairy and produce section, the necessities. So people tend to come to the grocery stores with the goal of buying fruits, vegetables, milk, and meat products, but why are the necessities at the very, very back of the store? From the entrance to the produce section, it actually took me about 1 minute to get there. And by the time most people reach this section, I noticed that their carts were almost completely full. Costco deliberately makes you travel the longest possible distance because they know that you'll buy fruits and vegetables eventually. And on the way, you might pick up a few items here and there and a new lawn chair that you never knew you wanted. My parents have fallen for this trap several times. They've gone to the stores with the goal to purchase fruits and vegetables, but left with a small portable grill and a new mop. A grocery trip that should have cost no more than $20 ended up costing us almost $300. OPIRG states that the shopping carts are extra large and deep, which give the illusion that using the whole cart for a few items is a waste, thus encouraging the customer to purchase more items. When my family and I went, our cart was less than 1/4 of the way full, and we've already had about $50 to $60 worth of items in there. By the time we were done, our bill was well over $200. Costco strikes again, and they have successfully accomplished their goal of making the consumer pay more for their items, which is exactly why they have such enormous profit margins. Another thing you'll notice is that there's a lot of free samples and live demos for products. Every so often you'll see a bunch of free samples encouraging consumers to buy. From fruits all the way to butter chicken, they have samples for absolutely everything. Moreover, you will see every so often a live demo of the product. This includes beauty products, diet controlling, quote, healthy food, household products, and so on. This is another way of getting the consumer to stay in the store longer and allow them to ask questions and learn more about the product and possibly purchase it in the end. Now, let's examine the produce section a bit more carefully. One interesting thing that Costco did was write out where the produce was from. If we look at the actual labels on the crates, they are in fact exactly where Costco stated they were from. However, this isn't necessarily a good thing. OPIRG stated that the average North American meal is said to travel approximately 2,400 kilometers from field to table. Now, let's look at where these items originated from and crunch some numbers and calculate the distance and average by hand. So the kiwi was from Italy, which is approximately 7,000 kilometers away. Mangoes were from Peru, which is about 5,910 kilometers. The melons were from Honduras, which was 3,257 kilometers. And the pineapples were from Costa Rica, which was 6,324 kilometers. If we add it all up and divide by 4, the fruits alone have traveled 5,634 kilometers. This is more than double the average found on OPIRG. This releases a significant portion of CO2 in the atmosphere because the planes, cars, and trucks all release these harsh chemicals just to transport the products. Trucks transport the products to factories, factories then clean the fruits and vegetables with harsh chemicals, and, as quoted by OPIRG, by the time an ordinary apple reaches the fresh produce shelf, it has been dipped in fungicide, bathed in chlorine, scrubbed with detergent, and polished with wax. Harsh chemicals aren't limited to just apples though. It includes avocados, bell peppers, grapefruits, lemons, and so on and so forth. The 4 items I listed earlier, the kiwi, mango, melon, pineapple, all had an unnatural feel and look to them. They were very shiny, and since they were coated in wax, and didn't have the most fragrant smell in the world. It actually kind of smelled like plastic. OPIRG said to peel the skin or use a mild detergent or non-toxic soap. Not everyone is going to do this, so farmers really shouldn't be mindlessly spraying their products with these chemicals. They should really use it when they absolutely have to. This isn't safe for anyone, especially people who don't have a strong immune system like the elderly. It can have devastating chronic illnesses, fertility and reproductive problems, brain and lung cancer, immune system suppression, and the list just continues. So does a cheaper price really make a difference? Are we really that naive that we should sacrifice our health just to save a few dollars? Organic food are really no different. There are certain exceptions, yes, but many of them still are sprayed with these harsh chemicals, and they're deemed as, quote, healthy alternatives. But if they too are dangerous to consume and have negative effects on our body, does this really make it any healthier? So does it really matter if they travel less? The human body, including the environment, suffers as a result. Pesticides kill insects and soil microorganisms, including those that are beneficial, according to OPIRG. So despite the food traveling a shorter distance, it still has negative effects on the environment, so there aren't any true winners. To get around this, one must buy locally and in season, and we must trust the farms that say they haven't sprayed these harsh chemicals. So they are in close proximity, yes, and they're using less preserving agents and fungicides, but this doesn't necessarily mean that every single organic product is the same. After a long, hard day of shopping, you must have worked up an appetite. Right after you check out, you're greeted with a food court, which is almost always packed out. How convenient. So the food is delicious. They're significantly cheaper than most stores, and this encourages consumers and customers to stop and eat for a while and satisfy their hunger that they built while shopping. To end the supermarket tour video, the question that must be asked is Costco really cheaper and better for the consumer? Or did we all fall into this trap of buying and spending more just to save more? This seems like a paradox, and there doesn't really seem to be just one right answer. But to make use of the perks and benefits, one has to spend more in order to save more, which is a contradiction. It doesn't sound like the customer is always right. It sounds like the customer is always manipulated and the company is always right. I'm sure at this point everyone is familiar with the coronavirus. The World Health Organization has declared it a pandemic and the numbers are exponentially rising day by day. But what does this mean for companies, or Costco specifically? As a result of the virus outbreak, Costco increased its sales in the last quarter by 91.3% because people are stocking up on supplies like water and toilet paper in the case that they have to stay at home for months on end. This is a seven-fold increase from last year in February, where they only had an increased sale of 12.1%. This is still a significant amount, but compared to 91.3%, that's a huge increase. Costco is slowly removing free samples from all major locations in order to stop the spreading as much as they can, and suppliers are actually starting to supply Costco less and less. This will ultimately mean that prices will skyrocket on household necessities. Currently, the coronavirus is at its initial stages, but as more and more people get infected, the prices of household necessities like water bottles and toilet paper will just continue to increase. Currently, it's hard to say because there aren't any of these supplies in stores right now, but once suppliers supply them with limited amount, and since they have an incredibly high demand at the moment, the prices are just going to keep on going up and up. And this is going to ultimately mean that people who aren't financially stable will have less, and the people who are hoarding more will have a lot. So survival will become an issue.